Hi, let's talk about some rational expressions here, and we're going to simplify them, we're going to multiply them, we're going to divide them, and let me remind you what a rational number is. It's a fraction whose numerator and denominator are integers, but the denominator can't be 0. And so let me give you an example of one here. Here's 40 over 10. Now, we want to reduce this or simplify it. What I'm going to do is factor the 40 into 4 times 10. Now notice if I take 10 into the denominator and 10 into the numerator, we would just get 1, and so 1 times 4 is just 4. In other words, we can cancel the 10s. We're going to use that same idea here to reduce or simplify some rational expressions. Oh, here's Benoli, one of the Benoli brothers here. He's going to bring down our first expression. Go ahead and just put it in my hand here. I think that it's not so heavy that my hand can't hold it. That's it. Just lower it down there. Good. I think I have it now. So you can release it, and I'll take it from here. Okay. Thanks a lot for your help, and say hi to your brother for me, all right? Now I'll just take this and sort of shove it up here where we can work with it and have some room to simplify this with. Attack this just like you did the 40 over 10. In this case, the 2x, we can't factor it, but the numerator we can factor, and we can factor out a 2x. And now we have the same kind of situation as we did in the previous example. Instead of 10s canceling out, we got the 2x's that cancel out, and we'll get 3x minus 1. So let's use that idea for the next ones. Okay, here's one that's a little more complicated here. It looks like we can factor both the numerator and the denominator. So let's go here and start with the numerator. We can factor out an 8x squared. And then from the denominator, we can factor out a 4x. And notice the x minus 3's will cancel out. And then we're left with this here. Now the 8x squared we could expand out a little bit to see that there's a 4x hidden in there. And that will cancel with the 4x in the denominator. And so your simplification is 2x. The next problem here, it looks like it factors into 2 binomials in the numerator and 2 binomials in the denominator. And let's just see if we can do any canceling here. And sure enough, we can. Look at, there's a plus 2 in the numerator and a plus 2 in the denominator. Cancel those out, and we'll get a plus 5 over a plus 7. Now we're going to multiply. Let's start out with a simple example, just like we did the last time around. Now I'm going to factor the 30 into 5 times 6. And notice that the 5's will cancel, and the 6's will cancel, and that will leave you with a 4 as your product of those two fractions. Now let's use some variables that follow the same kind of procedure here. Now that 4a squared will factor into 2a times 2a, and the 6a in the first fraction will factor into 3 times 2a, and notice that the 2a's from the numerator and denominator there will cancel out, and then you'll be left with this here. Now the a squared times a is just a cubed, and the 3 times 3 is just 9. So in the end here you get 2a cubed b over 9. So the next one, a little more involved. Looks like we can do a lot of factoring. So let's start with the first fraction here, and we can factor out a 3 from the numerator. And then in the denominator we could factor out a 4x. And then in the second fraction, the numerator we could factor out a 10x. And in the denominator we can factor out a 15. And notice there's an x minus 5 in the numerator and the denominator. Cancel those out. There's an x minus 1 and an x minus 1 in the numerator and denominator. Cancel those out. And we get this. And then the x's just still cancel out, and you could multiply across, get 30 over 60, and that will give a product of 1/2. So let's see what's next on our magic board here. Division. The trick here is take the divisor, in this case 2/5, and invert it. Turn it upside down, and then multiply it times the first fraction. So we got 4/25 times 5/2. The 5 will divide into 25 5 times, the 2 into the 4 2 times, and you'll be left with 2/5 as your answer. Now, let's try one with expressions involving variables. Here's our first case here. Take the 3 over 2y, turn it upside down, invert it, and multiply it times the first fraction. And let's see how that looks here. And we notice right away that we can cancel out the y's, and we can cancel out the 3's, and we could take 2 into 4, goes 2 times, and we get y squared over 2 as our answer. Here's the next one, a little more involved, but follow the same steps. Take the second fraction, invert it, and now we got a bunch of factoring to do. And so we'll look at this here. We have an x minus 5 in a numerator and an x minus 5 in a denominator. So we could go ahead and cross those out. And then notice that we have an x plus 1 in a numerator and an x plus 1 in a denominator. Cross those out. And there's also an x squared y cubed in a numerator and denominator, and you can cross those out as well. And then you're left with 2x minus 3 over x squared as your answer. Thank you.